This was a fatal fog. It was raining dead birds. It started to smell like rotten eggs. The funeral homes, they started running out of caskets. We're all gonna die from this fog. 12,000 people died. Once it cleared out, they just started finding people who keeled over in just kind of random places.
Where did they find your body?
My body? I'd like to change my answer, please, Alex. Yours sounds more fun. Hey there, booze buddies. Welcome to another episode of Paranormal Spirits, where we share a drink, we tell you a spooky story, and then we rip it apart because booze always shows the truth. So, Caitlin, I have a story today about a deadly fog.
A deadly fog? Real life story?
Evidence that this one actually happened. It's a change for us.
I know, it's real.
Maybe. On the morning of December 5th in 1952 in London. It was unusually cold. It was early kind of chill in the air, right? And so everybody had their fireplaces going, and soon the air began to fill up with chimney soot. And then as the afternoon progressed, a fog rolled in. So the chimney smoke and the fog mixed together and formed this kind of yellowy pea soup color.
Sounds so nice.
Healthy. Well, it's London. They're used to fog. So they're just kind of like, it's fog, chimney soot, whatever. We're just going to go through it. But over the next 5 days, the fog hung over the city, and it continued to grow during those 5 days. It covered nearly 30 square miles and was getting more and more dense. And at its worst, it got to the point where people literally couldn't see their hand in front of their faces.
Do you ever walk into a house or an apartment where people smoked inside forever and ever?
And the walls are yellow. That's what I'm imagining. I'm also imagining that it smells exactly the same.
I'm kind of imagining when you walk into a frat house and you just get hit with that smell of beer and urine, like a visual version of that.
Don't knock a frat house, Lynn. I got asked to leave every frat house I ever went to.
Caitlin, for the achievement of being kicked out of every frat house that ever was. So once it got to the point where you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face, they were just like, transportation has got to stop. Because if you can't even see your hand in front of your face, probably not great to be driving, have the train going, buses, really pretty much anything. Because if you can't see this,
you can't see me. That's what the fog was doing.
Yes, it was the John Cena fog. I believe that's what they called it.
The great John Cena fog takeover of 1957 in London. I don't know what year it was. I wasn't listening.
So not even any ships could leave. It was that thick. And then the people that were either brave or stupid enough to go outside found themselves kind of slipping and sliding on the sidewalks because there was this greasy black film that was covering the sidewalks from this fog and weird sludgy mixture. What makes a person say, you know what? I can't see. It's a thick, yellowy pea soup color. There's a greasy covering on the sidewalk. Let's go out.
I don't even leave my house now, and I live in this beautiful weather. I'm like, ugh, there's people out there. I'm gonna order it online. I don't know, if there was a 5-day long thick boy fog, I would be curious. It's like people that go out in a blizzard.
Let me tell you more. You wouldn't be curious. Do you know why?
Why?
So the people that did go out, when they came home, they looked like they'd been working in a coal mine. The black, greasy film was all over them.
My brain was like, working in a coal mine, but it's fog, yeah. It's disgusting pea fog.
So they began calling it the Great Smog. That was their name for this thing. And they were having difficulties breathing. I know that's going to be shocking.
I don't believe it. And it's also the 50s in London, so I'm assuming that everyone was just ripping cigarettes and pipes all day because that's what I imagine happens.
It got so bad outside that farm animals and pets that were outside started dying from difficult breathing. Yes, this was a fatal fog.
Fatal fog is a great band name.
And then wild birds either avoided the area or they were just falling from the sky dead. It was raining dead birds in this place.
It's raining birds from the fog. Yeah, it's raining birds. This is the singing episode, apparently.
Paranormal Spirit, the musical. Had you heard about the fatal fog of 52? Well, let me tell you a story.
I didn't say I was a choreographer. I'm just a songwriter, clearly.
It got so bad that anytime you would open your door, soot would be covering your doorway. It was just pervasive. Babies and elderly people, people that just were more susceptible, started dying off because they were just inhaling this great smog. It seems like it needs to have a better name than great smog. That doesn't do it justice. You know, fatal fog is really what it should have been.
Yeah, the fatal fog of 52.
And then after several more days, this is where it gets real bad. It started to smell like rotten eggs.
Oh, sick. Like sulfur?
Yeah. So not only are you going out getting covered in like a black greasy film, but now you're coming home smelling like rotten eggs.
Sounds like my early 20s. Come home covered in stuff, smelling like rotten eggs. It's a good Saturday night.
So many people were dying off that funeral homes started running out of caskets. We need more caskets! Put them in baggies!
Lay them on top of each other.
Yeah.
It's literally the different levels of Oreos, but just casket versions.
Yeah.
It's like double stuffed, extreme stuffed. So many dead bodies.
You just put like 4 kids in one. You'd be good. Use an adult size.
Head to toe.
Yeah. So every day, more and more people were just dying from this fatal fog. And yet there was no action being taken to try to get rid of it. I think they just didn't know what to do. They didn't really know exactly what was going on. And so people like tried to make their own gas masks, which honestly I kind of would like to see. Let's be honest. We've seen people try to make their own. I mean, there were memes about masks, right? About the things people do. Like, what were they doing in 52? The molded bra cups as a mask.
But you had to stand very close to the other person. So it's just because you're still in the same bra. So it's just both of you.
This is what you do with your kids. Each kid gets a cup.
Torpedoing down Main Street in London. Just. It would clear the path, though. They were so pointy that it would just clear the path in the sea.
It was just like a little shark coming down the way.
Damn it.
And just as everybody was about to just kind of give up hope and being like, we're all dying. We're all going to die from this fog. The fog started to lift and began to go away.
Thanks, nature.
Yes, a wind blew in and just basically pushed the remaining fog out to sea. And that was the end of the 5-day fatal fog. However, during that time frame, over 150,000 people were hospitalized. 5 days. And the death toll, 12,000 people died. In 5 days.
Shut the front door because the smog's getting in. I don't believe it. That's insane. And I also want to comment on, you were like, nobody did anything. But what do you do? What do you do?
Get your officials out there. One of those billows things.
Everybody get your billows.
Head towards the sea, fellas. I don't know what you would do. There wasn't any accurate record of how many animals died because, 12,000 people are dying in 5 days. They're not really keeping track of all the animals that are dying, but sure, it was a lot because they were all outside.
I would be so pissed if I died. My cause of death was weather. Right? Like, cause of death, fog, dead. We suck as a species. We can't even survive some dirty fog for 5 days. We literally are all just like, dead. It's a little foggy out there.
It was so bad. And keep in mind, this was 1952, so this was only 10 years since that the British government likened it to the aftermath of World War II. That tells you how many people died from this fog. 12,000 people in 5 days. That's, 2.5 thousand people a day?
Math.
It had been so bad once it cleared out. They just started finding people who keeled over in just kind of random places. So they were just still discovering bodies after the fog left. It's terrible, but it's kind of funny.
Where did they find your body?
My body, on Hooker Lane, I think would probably be
So 1952 Lynn is a prostitute. That's good to know. I would be at the pub. I would literally be at the pub. And I would also be one of those people who was just ripping cigarettes, just it's alright, I'm going down anyway, so
I'd like to change my answer, please, Alex. Yours sounds much more fun. We drink ourselves to death. Well, we're gonna die anyway.
It's a race. It's a race to the grave. That's what life is.
I like it. Here's what we do in 1952 during the fatal fog. We go to the pub, we smoke it up, we drink it up, and then we head out to a pirate ship and sail off into the foggy sea.
Wait, it's 1952, not 1803. Where are we getting a pirate ship?
We take a ship and we steal it.
We take a ship.
Pirate ship, right there. They were all docked anyways. They couldn't go. We're pirates. Accurate.
And that's how you find a pirate ship.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yo-ho.
I like it.
The British government decided they needed to act. They were on top of this thing. In 1956, the Clean Air Act was passed by Parliament. This put restrictions on coal-burning fireplaces. So those who had coal fireplaces, they had to get an alternative heating system. And obviously this took quite a long time to do because, can you imagine? You have a coal fireplace and now the government's like, gotta switch it up.
To what though?
I don't know.
Wood?
I don't really know. It's 1952. Apparently, I was out sailing the high seas as a pirate, so I don't know.
Pirates don't use coal.
That's right.
Yar. I like that the government was sprung into action. 4 years later, they said, hey, maybe we shouldn't do the thing that killed 12,000 people in 6 minutes.
For years, they didn't know exactly what created this fog. They were still trying to figure it out. And when I say years, I mean nearly 50 years. They still hadn't figured out what exactly created this fog. And it wasn't until more recently that scientists who were studying air pollution figured out what happened. So here's what happened. Basically, what they discovered was British Parliament wasn't too far off. The coal smoke mixed with the natural fog created a chemical reaction that caused sulfuric acids to form and were distributed throughout the fog, which is why, of course, it smelled like rotten eggs. And in combination with that, it was a heavy, dense fog, so it needed an air current to move it on. And so it wasn't until the wind finally picked up that it blew this fog off of the city. So for 5 days, they were stuck lingering in sulfuric acid, stinky egg fog.
Death by farts is basically what just happened. That's amazing. I would be so pissed if that's the way that I died.
Yeah, that's your cause of death. Farty fatal fog.
I'm gonna die tragically, but not like that.
So would that be considered not necessarily a farty fog, but because of the chemical reaction, could that be considered fog farts? Like the fog itself was farting?
I think the air was just a gigantic fart. It was they got Dutch ovened. The city of London got Dutch ovened to death.
I mean, you've heard of silent but deadly.
There it is. That's all. There's nothing else to be said. Well, that's the crappy story of the farty fatal fog of 55. Damn it, it was 52, but it doesn't matter because I don't need to know numbers. If you like what you saw, take those sulfuric acid covered butt cheeks and subscribe, and ring that bell. If you don't like what you saw, take a walk outside when it's really foggy out and take a deep breath. You're gonna love it. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for more drunken adventures with two old, definitely not covered in smog, definitely not hanging out in the piss yellow fog whores. Get out. Get out. Goodbye.
Goodbye.